Welcome to Ford High School Weekly. I'm your host, Deon Amade. On this week's episode, we got a treat for you guys. All right, Coach Corbin is here with us from Choctaw High School to talk about all kinds of football activity, especially with spring ball starting and getting underway. Coach Corbin, thank you for joining us.
I appreciate you having me. I look forward to being here and watch the show and really enjoy it.
Well, I appreciate that. With that being said, let's go ahead and take it not too far back, but a little far back with what happened during the season this year. You guys were able to make to the state championship game. Didn't quite knock down that door of getting that gold ball, but a lot of great things happened thus far for you guys, and it seems like you guys have a lot of momentum going into spring football.
Yeah, we feel like it. I mean, I always tell people, to me, the hardest thing to do in sports, in my opinion, is to go from losing to winning. And I always say, why do people win? They win because they've won. Why do they lose? Because they've lost. And so when you're trying to change those expectations, you're trying to change what, belief systems, all those kind of things. And it's easy for outsiders to say, hey, just go do it. But if you're a kid that's never seen it done before, I think that's kind of difficult to do. But that's what gets me out of bed every morning. That's what makes me excited about life. I enjoy trying to do things that are challenging, surround myself with people that kind of feel that same way. And it's hard to do. But yeah, starting spring ball with for the first time in school history where you have a group of kids, it's like, hey, we've been to a state championship game, which, means nothing for a 2021 football team, but it does mean something that it's not just coach saying that it's possible. Now they know for a fact that it is in fact possible and can be done.
Well, Coach, I've been around a lot of football and I've watched a lot of, Disney movies about sports and stuff. So that's the first time I've heard that saying before. You win because you've won before and you lose because you lose. Is that something that you've kind of, told your kids a number of times?
I don't necessarily tell them, because I believe them, and always think they're winners. But, behind closed doors, in the coach's office, I've been in the profession long enough to, be on some really good programs and some programs that have maybe struggled. And that's the big difference I see between the two it's just really belief, and it's easy to say, it's hard to do. But at some point, some kid out there has to go, man, I believe in coach, or I believe in this program, or I believe in what he's saying. I believe it is possible. But just like faith in God, I think that, you have to be able to believe in something that you can't see, that's not tangible, and just trust that it's going to be there and give your soul and your work ethic to something and hope that it pans out with not really knowing if it will or not. And to me, that's what's fun about being a coach. That's what's fun about, being a player or doing something, is having that kind of courage to stick your neck out when you don't know the reward may be great or it may not be. But either way, you're going to give your best effort. And I tell people all the time, I know for a fact that I have a 100% chance of failing if I don't try. And so we get kids to try and buy in and believe, and I believe in them and they believe in us, and it's a lot of fun.
The 8th grade shaped Jake Corbin's life in two big ways. When Ford High School Weekly continues. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. We're talking with the head ball coach of the Choctaw Yellowjackets. Coach Corbin,
yes.
The season didn't end like you guys wanted to. I mean, you guys had a lot of success, but what do you remember about that state championship game? What was kind of the difference there towards the end?
It's, I always thought we were going to win, I'll be honest. It's like we have pretty good history, last second drives, being able to do those kind of things, not panicking under pressure and all those. And, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but I'm never going to question God's timing. And, and obviously I've hurt like you would be when you pour everything into something. But, to sit there and say, hey, is last year a failure? Well, I'm not going to go that far either. There's a lot of people that couldn't do what those kids did, and the amount of courage that they play with and the part that they play with. End of the day, I love winning. Believe me, I'm hyper competitive. I want to be the best at everything, period. But, at the end of the day, it's like, what do I really like? Well, I want to hang out with a group of like-minded people, with coaches and players that give everything they have and pour every job they have into something. And I'll die tomorrow and be happy just hanging out with a group of people like that. And we had that team. I think we still have that kind of team. That's what Choctaw football is about. Is you're going to see 11 guys in the field just bleed and give everything they have every snap. And when our kids do that, how can you not be proud of them? And how can you not be proud of what they've done? Sure, you want to win, but you want to win for the kids. At my age, I don't, not that I'm old, but I don't need that kind of, I don't need someone to tell me, that I'm a champion. I tell our kids they're champions, and that's how they got to the championship. We didn't need the trophy to prove it. So, obviously, like you mentioned, didn't go as we wanted to. Obviously, you played the game to win, but on the same token, life's about a lot more than just winning championships.
Certainly right about that. You did mention though that you are hyper competitive, and you've gone through some things in life that have made you that way. But bring us back to the beginning for you, Coach Corbin. How did you get involved in coaching and get involved in this game?
Yeah, it's somewhat an interesting story, I guess. I got out. I was like a lot of kids. Maybe graduate high school, going to college, don't really have a great plan. Don't really know what you want to do, and kind of bounce around different stuff. And didn't really know. And so I get out of school and did insurance adjusting for a while. Did mortgage banking for a little bit. Was quasi successful at both. And and I got a call from my dad one day. How's it going? I'm like, that's pretty good. You enjoy it? It's okay. I liked it. All right, I wouldn't say I was passionate about it, but I enjoyed it. And he asked me the question, literally changed my life. He said, what would you do if you won the lottery? He said, you won't just sit at home all day. So you would do something with your time. But if money wasn't of any, value to you and you didn't have to have it, what would you do for a living? I was like, well, I coach high school football. And, and literally I was like, oh, I need to do that. And so literally the next day I started applying to get alternatively certified through the state of Oklahoma. Got on, contacted my old high school football coach, Gary Rose and Carl Albert, got on as a head 8th grade coach. I was a substitute teacher and a head 8th grade coach, and, barely rubbing pennies together to try to make a living. But I absolutely loved it. And I knew when I, coached 8th grade football, I was like, man, I want to do this the rest of my life, and really enjoyed it. Still talk to some of those kids on that very first team. But, it's like that's how I got into it. I kind of always knew that I, wanted to be a coach when I was a kid and all those kind of things. But, you always hear about, I want to make more money, or I want to do these kind of things. But, I tell our guys and our young guys, like, do what you love. And if you love it enough, you're going to be really, really good at it and successful in the money.
So going back to you as a player, speaking of, what type of player were you?
I think I was kind of just, I was a good high school football player. I think I was kind of your overachiever. I'd hope people say I'm a pretty tough kid. I didn't ever, miss a practice or a snap or any of those kind of things. And I gave everything I had. You have a lot of adults, and, people are like, man, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. I don't have any of those. I feel like, man, I bled every snap, gave everything I had. And that's what it was. Was I the best player in the world? No, I wasn't. But I was the best me, that I could be. And so I think you can have a lot of, really good life being that and win a lot of games with those kind of kids. But, kind of play football like a coach. And I'm going to give everything I have to something. And there's going to be a lot more talented guys and all those kind of things. But, I think one of the best qualities that you can have in life, and that I hope that people would say I possess, is resilience. I'm not ever going to, stop getting back up when I get knocked down, and I'm not going to ever give up. And, you just keep treating every day, as a blessing, and, and be grateful to God each day when you wake up, and give everything that you have. And I think that's what life's about. Whatever it is, man, when I die, I want to die on E. So
real quick question, Coach, what position did you play?
I played outside linebacker and like off tight end, a little wide position is what we call it. And so you see it more in a little sniffer back and stuff like that. I was, probably too dumb to do anything real smart, so I was just always kind of the hammer. So, I wasn't scared to, stick my face in there and, and get it going and enjoy contact and all that kind of stuff. But, I'm fortunate to coach a lot better players than me.
Choctaw's cupboard is full of good football players. Ford High School Weekly will be right back. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. We're talking with the head coach of the Choctaw Yellowjackets, Coach Corbin. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Now that spring football is underway, and again, you've had a number of guys, a number of talented individuals. You got a number of guys coming back, starting quarterback, starting tailback, that have done phenomenal things this past year. What can we expect from the Yellowjackets coming up?
We hope to be cleaner. That's kind of our goal in the spring, especially offensively. We returned a lot of guys on offense, but obviously that wasn't the case a year ago. We returned 2 guys a year ago. Now we return 9 on offense. And so, we would like to be cleaner and crisper on offense. And, I think that people don't understand how hard it is to play quarterback as a sophomore at the 6'8" level. That's not easy at all to do. You mentioned Still Wassel, by the end of his sophomore year is playing at a super high level. And, in spring ball already, he looks better than he did at the end of the state championship game of his sophomore year. And a lot of that's just happened with maturity and experience. And so, with all our guys with a year under their belt, obviously we're looking to be a lot more explosive, a lot crisper, a lot cleaner, and just being able to kind of expand and do more things that we want to be able to do on offense. And the same's on defense. We returned 7 guys on defense and a lot of talented guys, as you mentioned. We have a lot of 3-year senior starters that are coming out. They're coming into their senior year. We look for those guys to start off real hot.
Speaking of those talented guys that you mentioned, a lot of eyes are focused on number 87 down there at the defensive end position, Desean Brown. He's pretty impressive. What can you tell us about him as far as the defensive end of things go?
Yeah, we call Desean Wildman. The guy has one motor.
Yes.
It's full go, nonstop, and it's like that all the time. He's bouncing off the walls all the time. The guy's he's hilarious, really funny, great kid, great person, very intelligent, but has a super high motor. And Desean is a great story because Desean, his sophomore year, played JV for us. He's about 178 pounds, played JV. Had a lot of production on JV, as you would imagine, but wasn't a starter his sophomore year. And as the year goes on, it was like week 7. We're sitting there watch this guy get 7-8 sacks a night on JV. Man, we got to find a place to put this kid in there. And so we switched around the defense a little bit, and allow him to kind of position him for success. By the end of the year, his sophomore year, he's starting, and so he's as good as he wants to be, which is really good. Desean's also very refreshing because Desean doesn't care about offers. Desean's not an offer chaser guy. He's not worried about clout. He's not worried about putting whatever on social media. I won't say what school, but there's a pretty prominent Power 5 school that calls me and they're like, "Hey, we're going to offer Desean," and I'm like, "I think you already did back in February." Like, did we? And because he just doesn't post all the stuff. He doesn't care about who offered him or whatever. And you talk to Desean just wants to play football. To me, that would be the most refreshing thing as a college coach is the guy just wants to play ball. He's not into all that other stuff. He just wants to get on campus somewhere that he enjoys and go play ball. Whether it was whatever university it is, he doesn't care. He just wants that opportunity and just loves playing football. And so, he's 100% or 100 miles an hour in practice, 100 miles an hour in a game, and just plays football the right way.
Speaking of on the offensive side of the ball, a guy that plays really hard every snap that he gets a chance to is Latrell Ray, the running back for the Yellowjackets. You would think with Wassel being over there and his lively arm that you guys would be, a predominantly passing team, but he gets his touches and he makes good use of them. Tell me a little bit about him and what he can provide to your team in the upcoming season.
Latrell, we call him Treasy. The kids call him Pops. He's a really mature kid, super smart kid, very intelligent, just calm and so electric. He's absolutely freaky when he gets a chance to touch the ball. And I think, unfortunately, for maybe someone else that is in another colored jersey, he's put on about 20 pounds of muscle, and he laser timed a 4.36 the other day, which is pretty crazy. And so he's also, we had the ability to put him, an inside receiver, a running back, outside receiver. He's taking it upon himself to learn all offensive positions. He can play quarterback. He can do all kinds of things just because of his intelligence level, his commitment. And so you'll see him as a well polished, improved receiver as well as running back and doing different things. And so he absolutely is scary with the ball in his hands. Just a wonderful, wonderful kid, and so coachable. And yeah, so he's one that kind of flies under the radar because he's not, 13 like the rest of them are, But
yeah,
man, that guy, he's lightning in the bottle, though. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, he jumps on the tape. He certainly does.
No doubt. You hit play, you're going to see him. The guy's going to make a play. He's a stud.
The Choctaw Yellowjackets prepare like the colleges when Ford High School Weekly returns. Welcome back to Ford High School Weekly. We're talking with the head ball coach of the Choctaw Yellowjackets. Coach Corbin, you mentioned quite a bit of time, especially talking about Desean Brown and Latrell Ray, that one year they're this size and they're good players, but then the next season you see them jump up 20, 15 pounds and, they're monsters. How often do you see that at that level of football? And how grateful as coaches are you when that stuff comes?
Again, you try to, take a question like that, and I'm not giving anyone any bulletin board material, but, I believe we have the best strength program in the state. It's ran by Kimes Gilbert, is also my offensive coordinator. If you see him, he looks like Incredible Hulk. It's essentially his kind of workout. But we put a lot of pride in it. We monitor our kids. We teach them what to eat, how to eat, when to eat, how many calories, monitor it, weigh them in, set their goals for them. It's easy for a coach to say, hey, you're 175, I need you to weigh 200. Okay, but you're a kid and you're like, Coach, I'm trying. That's impossible. I can't do it. But he says, hey, listen, I need you to gain 25 pounds over the next 16 weeks. And so, that may only be 1.3 pounds per week. And so then I can try to get him on a plan. So if you consume 700 more calories a day by eating just X, Y, and Z, and then that you gave that kid a plan, well, now he's able to get there. And so we try to treat our program just like a collegiate program like that, where our kids either have weight loss or weight gain goals. And so we're not surprised when the kids meet them because they understand what it's going to take to go to get where they want to go and do it. It's easy just to blow a whistle and say, hey, go lift and write something up on the board. Hey, 3 sets of 8, da-da-da-da-da. But we feel like we have it down to a pretty good science on getting the most out of our kids. And that's, again, I'm trying to get – everyone does a great job. All coaches are special and everybody's great. But I feel like we do the best job of maximizing our kids. When that kid comes in here as a freshman to when he leaves as a senior, we tell parents and I'll tell our kids, and that's the best that kid could be, period. And because, again, that's not arrogant, that's not anything, but it's just saying we're going to invest in his weight, in his strength, in his academics, in his mind, and relationally with that kid. And we're going to have him be the best version of himself when he can totally get out of here. And so, we actually have a pretty good track record of that, from, Jordan Mukes to Jeff Robertson to Chase Jackson, Cade McConnell this year, and Steele and RJ and Sean and all those kind of guys, and go on and on to guys that, may not have been Power 5 guys, but just continue. Donnie Wingate from a year ago that's going to be a full walk-on at OSU. Had several Division I scholarships, including Naval Academy, Lamar University. And those guys will walk in as 150-pounders and they'll leave as 225 of pure muscle. And it's just trying to treat it like it. What are the colleges doing? How are colleges able to do that? Success leaves clues. And so, we got really smart guys on our staff, present company excluded, but they're able to figure those things out and go get those things done and help our kids get to where when they go to a Division I college, they are ready to go. We just had Chase Jackson, kid at TCU right now, come back today. And, they always want to talk to the team. It's like, hey, how much different is it? He's like, not much. Well, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear that, man, this program really prepped me for being successful, not only in life, but at the collegiate level as well.
Success leaves clues. That's another good one, Coach. I'm going to have to steal that right there. So what clues did you guys leave last year that you guys are going to pick up and take with you onto this season right here? So that's going to be my final question for you. What does your team have to do to reach that gold ball once again?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, to be honest with you, there's so many things that have to happen. I think you have to get a little bit lucky. I think you have to, survive some, obviously injuries and all those kind of things. But the bottom line is what the 2020 team had that I think the 2021 team can have, and what I think all teams can have is belief. And those are the number one thing. And it's like, man, those kids believe. They believe, and they didn't let other people doubt them. And I've never understood that. It's like, like the poem Man in the Arena. Like some people like get their kicks out of it, and I'm sure you dealt with this as a player and a broadcaster as well. And some people want to just sit back in the stands and critique. And it's like, man, I want to jump in the arena. I'm going to get down there in it. And you may be able to judge me, but it's like, I'm living my life down here. You're living your life up there. And so as long as our kids will continue to do that, we'll have a chance. But at the end of the day, it's like you can't go into the season saying, hey, I want to win a championship. Well, everybody's saying that day one. That's everybody's goal day one. But it's like, are you wanting to win a championship practice one? And then are you wanting to win a championship week 6 when it's practice 37 of the season? You know what I mean? And it's on a Wednesday and it's hot. And you don't want to be out there and all those kind of things. But do you love your brothers enough? Do you love this team enough, coaches, program, all that kind of stuff, to do what it takes to be successful? And, ultimately, if we do those things, we'll have a chance. If we don't, then it'll be tough. But I tell kids all the time, I don't think you can force anyone to do something against their own will. I'm the head coach. That's my role, but I'm just a part of this team. I have a job to do just like they have a job to do as player. My job is not more important than theirs. Their job is not more important than mine. We all have a role that we have to be able to fulfill. I always try to make sure that no other head coach outworks me, and I want to make sure that I'm not ever letting my players and coaches down. But at the end of the day, they're going to give opportunities, and they're going to decide, where do I want to take this team? Where do I want to take the 2021 season? But I let them decide that. That's on them. I push them and try to lead them in the right direction. But at the end of the day, that's what kind of leadership we develop, all those kind of things, how we respond to adversity. Because I tell them in the practice one, I'll end up by saying, will we face adversity this season? No doubt. And the higher you go, the more adversity you're gonna find. And the bigger games you play, the more adversity. The better we handle that, the better we'll be. If we handle it like I think we can, we play gold standard football like Choctaw Yellowjackets, and we'll have a chance to do it.
Well, Coach, you made a believer out of me, and I have no doubt that you guys will be one of the teams vying for that gold ball this year, just like you were last year. And I have all the faith in the world in you guys in the Yellowjackets. So thank you for joining us this evening.
A non-hater, I love it.
No, we got all the love over here. But thank you so much for joining us, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you during the season as well and talk some Yellowjackets football along the way. Only the best in Oklahoma make the Ford High School Weekly, so keep an eye out for the Choctaw Yellowjackets this fall. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm your host, Desean Brown.